Good evening, everyone. Guys, hang on a minute. Right, okay. Guys, sorry, sorry about that. I tried to stream on two platforms, but I've just got a notification coming up telling me that I can't stream on two platforms. Let me just close that down real quick. Right, guys. Anyway, let me just close that. Remove. Hang on, guys. I'm having a bit of technical issues here. Yes, I think. Yes. Right, I think we're on. Sorry about that, guys. I tried to stream on two different platforms at the same time. I got a notification and I got all confused. Anyway, guys, we can see global collapse right in front of us right now. I mean, we've got what's happening in the Middle East at the moment is just getting, guys, it's going from one level to another. We're going to talk about that later on today. We're going to talk about how, if you remember from yesterday's stream last night, we said what could happen is this could be a unification moment in the Middle East, in the, Iran. You've got Lebanon, you've got Gaza, you've got Yemen, you've got the Houthis in Yemen that have been quiet for a while. So what you could see and what you're seeing right now is this happening, whereby Iran could start to have a more active role and a more, a more military role in these conflicts. Remember, guys, all right? Remember that the Iranians have already vowed, divine retribution on the Israelis, and they've already said that they're going to wait until they're ready. Now you're having protests in the street in Iran, and people are demanding that the government in Iran take action on the Israelis. So we've got all of this as a backdrop, guys, to today. But what I want to talk about first is something that's, something about the UK's military. And this goes, and this is a really deep problem that we have at the moment. Lots of people are coming out and they're saying, the military is not big enough. We need conscription. We need to get people in the military. And there's an article by Tim Collins. In fact, let me share this with you guys, because where are we? Here we are, guys. Here we are. So this article, guys, it's a really, like the article itself. I mean, read the headline there, guys. How can we rebuild our shrinking armed forces? Simple. Recruit more white men. Now, the article, it's really, really, it's quite brutal, actually, on the problems that the army has faced. They make he says things like there's more, there's more diversity groups in the British military than there are working tanks. Guys, I can't even find words of my astonishment. I'll say that again, guys. There's more diversity groups in the British military than there are working tanks. It's absolutely insane. So the article's talking about, how there's been mass failures in the recruitment, how there's been too much diversity push, and then like most things, guys, the important stuff is at the bottom. So this bit here, guys. The woeful wait between making an application and being accepted for training, which currently runs for 2 months. I can remember when I joined the military, I left school in, when do you leave school? You leave school like middle of July. What is it? Is it June? Whatever it is for the 6 weeks holiday. So yeah, mid-June, sorry. Yeah, mid-June. I left school in mid-June. 27th of September is that was my first day in the military, 27th of September. So you can see that there was no wait for me at all. I left school and I was in. That was how quick it was in the military. Now I'm hearing these horror stories about people having to wait months and months and months and months for people to get back to them. And it's a red tape exercise. People are earning money and it's just catastrophic. In this, rather than cosmetic gimmicks like lowering medical standards and accepting applicants with mental health issues, which will actually improve matters, We must learn from the Ukrainians. We must recruit and retain to build our own strength and equip our service people with the same vigor that they have, disregarding the opinions of focus groups grasping reality. We must be ready to face the same threat they face. He's talking about the Ukrainians, and from the aggressive regime in Russia. Guys, they're telling us what's coming. You know, we must be ready to face the same threat that the Ukrainians are facing. This is all over now, guys. You know, it's come out. There's a lot of reports talking about it, and a lot of the mainstream are starting to understand what is actually coming. Guys, I want the Ukrainians to win this war, whatever a win looks like. But the reality is the numbers are just not there for the Ukrainians. The Ukrainians don't have the numbers. It's simple maths. So the Lord's report emphasized that the government needs, guys, and this is insane, needs a proposition that resonates with citizens, emphasizing the importance of national security in their daily lives and moving on beyond the notion that defense is solely the military's responsibility. So I've said, you know, it's not just me, you know, soldiers win battles. A war is won by a nation. If the nation forgets about the soldiers out there in a far, far away land and doesn't care because, you know, Taylor Swift's released a new song, or a new rapper's released a new dance, or people are doing new TikTok dances, and they're more interested in that than their own people going away to other countries and making the ultimate sacrifice, that's when we lose those wars, guys. And that's when we lose as a society, you know, and that's when we lose as a whole. And this happened in Afghanistan, guys. You know, I did 2 main tours in Afghanistan and one and a short tour in Afghanistan where you had to go out and relieve your friends who were going on leave. We were going out to Afghanistan, guys, and it was a full-on conflict. There was nothing on the news. Nobody cared back in the United Kingdom. There was, you know, nobody cared what was happening out there. People were more interested in the latest song, football. You know, somebody did a new dance, and you know, all this sort of stuff. It's absolutely wild, guys. Nations win wars, not soldiers. And I think this Lord's report is kind of, you know, mirroring that, where it says moving beyond the notion that defense is solely the military's responsibility. So when we're talking about, you know, national service, these are the things that are going to have to be, you know, implemented. We need as a nation to wake up to the global threats that confront us and prepare to face them. So, guys, this article, I'll obviously put this in the description. It was a really good article, and it describes a lot of the problems that the military has. And, you know, from the very start of the article, guys, we're not, you know, as the article says, we need to recruit and drive to recruit more white men because they're the only demographic that can fill these roles. Now, I mentioned, if you guys remember when I covered the Rotherham riots, guys, also, if you've not done so, please remember to like and share and comment and subscribe on my stuff because the algorithm really likes it when you guys do that. Yesterday's video, our live stream, that got pushed out to a lot more viewers because you guys were liking and sharing and commenting. What happens is the algorithm, when you guys like and, like I said, comment and share, the algorithm looks and it says, all right, people are commenting, people are sharing, this must be a good article, and then they push that out so other people can watch it. But when I covered the riots in Rotherham and which started off as protests about the migrant hotels, when I covered that, guys, and to this day, I've not seen anybody else mention this, I saw a demographic of young men, you know, and these guys were, you've seen them in the news. You've seen all these young lads getting arrested, of angry young white men. And they're angry because they're looking at the future and they're looking at what country they have. And they're looking and they're thinking, and this is their perspective, guys, you know, and they're thinking, what do I have as a native who was born in this country? What's here for me? Sorry, the article as well. Let me show you this in fact, I'll tell you. That article actually goes on as well by Tim Collins. And it says that there's more, that we have more migrants, if you can call them migrants, we have more migrants in hotels than we have military in barracks. Can you imagine that now, guys? we have more migrants in hotels than we have, soldiers in barracks. It's absolutely wild. The article then goes on and says, we've had these defense, under the Conservatives, they said they were going to increase defense spending. Under Labour, they've said they're going to increase defense spending, but they've not increased defense spending, and they're not telling us when they're going to increase defense spending. So it's more than likely it's not going to come. Guys, right now, we should be spending like 5% GDP on defense. There's no easy way around it, because what's coming slowly towards us, it's conflicts on an industrial scale, and we need to put our industry into action right now. The article also goes on, and it's absolutely wild. It tells you that we're spending, like, the amount of money that we're spending on migrant hotels, that would be the military budget sorted. We would be up to 5%, we would be up to 5% GDP. You'd have to read the article, guys. I think it's 5% GDP. If, we stopped funding these migrant hotels and put that money into the military. And, he says, Tim Collins, the article's fantastic, guys. He says, right, okay, the government are saying we've got no money for defense. They're saying we've got no money for our military, but we've all of a sudden got money for migrant hotels. We've got money to pay all these migrants coming over. The article's really good, guys, and I will put it in the description, because it's absolutely insane. But like I said, this demographic of young men at the moment, and they're going to be the ones who are going to have to rebuild this country. They're the ones who are going to have to take it on their shoulders, and they're the ones who are going to either make or break this country and the West in general, because this is happening all over the West. Any Western any Western NATO member, everyone's having this, this mass migration pushed on them, this woke agenda, while we're marching to war. Guys, I can guarantee this. When those Russians start to attack, those wokies, those woke lefties, they won't be fighting. I can guarantee that, guys. They'll be the first ones to lay down, throw their hands up and start surrendering, guys. I can guarantee you, I've seen this so many times. It's absolutely wild. So that's what we need to solve our military problems, guys. We need to recruit more white men, as the article says. It's a hard-hitting article. So we've also got, at the same time, a war against our police. Now, a lot of you guys, are very critical of the police, and I get it. We've got this incident and it's still in the back of my mind. We've got this incident where the 3 Manchester airport attackers have not been arrested. They've not been charged, and we're seeing this, we've not forgot about this. I've not forgot about it. I saw a man attack 3 police officers and break a policewoman's nose. That's what I saw, And I also know that neither of these guys have been arrested. And we all know this. We all know the reasons why, and people are seeing this. And this is why this pot is absolutely boiling. It's getting to a stage, guys, this pot, where at some point it is going to go. I don't think we're going to get to another election, guys, really. I think the system is going to buckle itself. It's going to buckle itself under its own bureaucracy. And then when that happens, that's when the wars will start. That's when you're going to see the Russians seeing that the United Kingdom is weak, seeing that the West's weak, and then they're going to really start to push. So from an article, guys, from the Mail Online, the Mail Online, if I'll share it with you guys, the police badge that you've seen all the police wearing, it's like a thin blue line badge. Well, the police have been stopped wearing it. They're not allowed to wear it. Outrage over plans by Met police chiefs to ban officers from wearing badges honouring hero cops killed in the line of duty, in a move branded an insult. So this is him, guys, the guy, Mark Rowley. Again, when I look at him, I just see a bureaucrat. He's not, and again, I know nothing about him. This is my speculation. I would say he's a bureaucrat. He doesn't really know about life on, as a copper on the street, and he's more like a politician, and he does what he's told. And then we've got, so this is the badge, guys. This is the badge now that our police officers, are not allowed to wear, because reasons, the police officers are not allowed to wear that badge. Now, the reason they're giving the reason that they're not allowed to wear that badge because nobody's allowed to wear any badges, and that's the direction we're going now. We're just stopping our police officers from wearing badges, block banning it. This is kind of like not letting soldiers wear a poppy on Remembrance Day. I don't see where this is going. Our police officers, guys, and I know you guys are critical of the police, but I want a strong police force. I want a respected police force. I want a police force that can do their jobs and they're not politicized. And I want a police force that, I trust to do the right thing. Now, the problem is we haven't got this because it's decaying from the top down, and decay can only come from the top down. So we're just getting rid of the police officer's identity now, guys. While we're having this woke agenda, we're having this woke push towards the police force and, taking any identity away from them. We're kind of emasculating police from being police. Soon they're just going to be people who look online, and then we're probably going to get, I don't know, drones come and take us away, something like on Terminator Salvation. But, it's just more towards this, this cauldron at the moment that's bubbling away. And when you start when police don't enjoy, when police officers don't want to be police officers because they've got no affinity, when police officers don't want to be a police officer because, as you can see from this article, they're saying you're not allowed to honor those people who've given their, life for the service. It's just absolutely insane, guys. And it's just another attack on the police. We need a strong police force, guys. We do, but we need the right police force that's also respected. And you just don't get that by being a woke police force. It's absolutely insane. Anyway, more's been coming out now about Keir Starmer. And guys, can you remember when I said, like weeks ago, I said, guys, go and search who Lord Ali is? Can you remember when I said that? I said, guys, go and check out who Lord Ali is because this rabbit hole is deep. Guys, I did this within 30 seconds. And weeks ago, it took me 30 seconds to do this. I pinned all these dots together. Now, the mainstream media is just coming out with this, guys. So, mainstream media are just coming out now and talking about who is Lord Ali. Who is he? What's he done? And what does he want from Keir Starmer? Well, guys, they're still asking the wrong questions. So guess what? I'm going to lay it down for you guys now because it's come out in the mainstream, because there's a lot of things that the algorithm doesn't like, and it restricts your movements. So what we're going to talk about now, guys, is who is Lord Ali. So let's have a quick we're going to do a few screen shares here, guys, because this is really important. And this rabbit hole is absolutely ridiculous. So this is from Sky News, guys. So the mainstream are talking about it now, but they're asking the wrong questions. They're diverting the real depth of this sinisterism. Lord Ali, who is the Labour peer behind Keir Starmer's donations row? Guys, don't even read that article. I'll tell you the truth right now. I'll tell you, and I'll do this by sharing open source materials, and I'll let you guys make the speculation and make the links yourselves. But guys, if you understand this subject matter, if you've got any knowledge of this subject matter that I'm going to go on to, you will understand how deep this actually goes. So let's stop that one. Right, where are we? So who is Lord Ali? And this is from, this is his Wikipedia page. This is from Wikipedia. So, and you can all do this, guys. So Wahid Ali, Baron Ali. So that's in there, guys. There's no dispute in this. Again, this may all be wrong. We don't know. I'm just going from this. So I looked at this after about 10 seconds. I was looking for keywords, going down, looking for keywords. There it is. Boom. Robert Maxwell, guys. Czechoslovak-born British media proprietor, politician, and fraudster. So Lord Ali went to work for Robert Maxwell. And it's there, guys. Look, so Ali started as a junior researcher for a finance magazine. He left and then he came back to work for Robert Maxwell, his original employer, Robert Maxwell, worked his way up the media business within Robert Maxwell's stable of publications. So if you look, so we need to look into Robert Maxwell now, guys, and who Robert Maxwell is. But what I will say quickly, because we're not going to come back to this page. I'm trying to give you just a few breadcrumbs here, guys. We'll come on to Robert Maxwell. He then went to the city for a second career in investment banking. Guys, let me ask you this question right now. What does working at a media company learn you about investment banking? Please tell me, because I don't know. Please just let me know what that is, because I don't know what that is. As far as I was concerned, a media company did stuff with media, like producing stuff, producing publications, producing films, producing articles. I didn't know that show taught you how to be an investment banker. I didn't know that, guys. This is new to me. Unless, and again, I know this wouldn't happen because I know this would be a wild conspiracy, and I know this doesn't happen. But unless, Mr. Ali had somebody he needed to be taken under his wing for because he needed to earn a lot of money, because he needed to then be in a position to spend that money in a certain way. I know that's not happening, guys. That would never happen. It doesn't happen. But I just don't know what the connection is between media and investment banking. You tell me, guys, if there is any connection. I must be wrong. Anyway, so that's kind of the main things. Well, the main things that I needed to go from on his, on his Wikipedia page. So then we need to look at who Robert Maxwell is. And again, guys, this is literally from the Wikipedia page. So this is nothing, this is no speculate. Let's just look at Robert Maxwell's media page. So Robert Maxwell there, guys, remember, so he was born in Czechoslovakia. Remember when we did the article about, and this is me speculating, guys, there's probably no connection here at all. There's probably zero connection with Robert Maxwell's involvement with anything to do with Czechoslovakia in the 80s. There's nothing to do with it, guys. Any speculation is just conspiracy. But can you remember when Keir Starmer, when I did the article and Keir Starmer went away and he worked in the the workers camp in Czechoslovakian workers camp or something, and then he was identified by the security services as someone who could be manipulated in the future. Sorry, not manipulated, not manipulated, as someone who could be exposed later in their life. I did an article on that, guys. I'll do it after this. So, and again, there's probably no connection there, is there, guys? Probably zero connections to those two people. Now, obviously, you've got all Robert Maxwell's things, but there, guys, Ghislaine Maxwell was his daughter. Ghislaine Maxwell is a disgraced British socialite and convicted offender. In 2001, she was found guilty of trafficking and other offences in connection with the deceased and convicted offender Jeffrey Epstein. So, guys, can you see these connections now between Lord? And again, I'm just pointing these out, and I'm just saying those connections are there. They're there for everyone to see. They're open source material. Anyone can see this. I'll put the links in the description. Now, is it beyond the realms of possibility to think there's some sort of connection there? And again, the media are asking the wrong question. They're kind of, they didn't mention anything about who Lord Ali was for weeks, and I didn't either. I just said to you guys, do the research and look out who Lord Ali is. Guys, I did it in it literally took me 30 seconds. I didn't even need to open those links. As soon as I saw those keywords, those key companies, I knew exactly who Lord Ali was and what his role is. Now, people are asking the question, what does Lord Ali want? He doesn't want anything. Well, again, I'm speculating that he would want Keir Starmer to pass laws that are of a certain type of laws. He would want the government, whoever's controlling Keir Starmer's finances and giving him a load of free stuff, they have influence over him. Now, I'm not saying Lord Ali has this influence over him. What I'm saying is you guys go and check it out for yourself. I'll put the links in the description, guys, and tell me what you guys think. Is there some sort of connection here? Is there some sort of connection with Czechoslovakia, Keir Starmer, the socialist regime? It's all there, guys. It's all there for everybody to see. Everything, nothing's hidden anymore. Everything's out in the open. And I'm just showing it you, whatever's on, whatever's out there in open source media. Guys, the amount of stuff I get through, from you guys sending me messages, putting links from our other platforms, it's absolutely unbelievable. I can't, because we've had so many videos taken down, guys, I can't put all these things down and I can't talk about all these things until they've come out in the mainstream, which is a kind of a kick in the face because I want to get this information out to you guys early. But if I do that, I get the video taken down and it doesn't help anyone. So the insanity of it at the moment, guys, there's a strong argument that Lord Ali could be in charge of the Labour Party. Okay, who's in charge of Lord Ali? Where did he make his money? Guys, it's all there. It's out. It's open source material. Go and read. I just heard something weird. Guys, if you see any lights flashing in the background, it's because there's a road there. Can you see that? There's a road and the lights come over the hill with their main beam on. Anyway, guys, so let's move on to, guys, I'm just conscious right, before we come on to the Middle East, guys, and the absolute insanity that's happening there, and how we could have a situation where the whole of the Middle East is united, we're going to come on to, I'm just going to open your comments up, guys, because I did this late yesterday, and I was talking to you guys, talking to comments, and we'd already covered them, so I'm going to come on to your comments now. Have you seen, so have we seen what's trending on X about Starmer? Yes, there's lots of rumors, and this is all they are, guys, rumors at the moment. That he's been, when he went to stay at this flat, it was because he was in, and again, it's the rumors. I don't know if there's any truth behind them. And again, I personally, I don't care if he's gay. I just don't want him to act gay. And what do I mean by that, right? For me, if you're gay, it doesn't really matter. But when you start going to these degenerative, festivals where like it's broad daylight and people are dancing down the street in like leather clad and doing absolute debauchery in the middle of the street, and there's kids and their, and their mums and their dads just going out to the shop, and we're supposed to be told this is progressive. I don't want none of that progression, guys. There was lots of gay people in the army. They never acted like this. There was never like a gay night in the military where all like the gay people in the military just went absolutely wild in leather chains and stuff. It's dark, guys, and it's being forced on us. So there's nothing wrong with being gay as long as you're not gay about it. So that's what the rumors are on X. It's trending about, people talking about Keir Starmer basically being gay. I don't think it really matters. But what I think matters is the hypocrisy of it. And that's what I think people are most annoyed about with this whole Labour government. It's the vast levels of hypocrisy. But guys, if you just consider that there's no left and right, there's no us and them, in politics, there's no us and them. Just consider it's a big game. It's a big pantomime. It's a show. It's a game. That's what the reality is. We have late stage democracy where we've got too many donors. I mean, look at Lord Ali. He's basically now got a lot of influence over the Labour Party. So I'm asking, who's in charge of Lord Ali? Where did he make his money? And again, maybe I'm wrong, guys. Maybe you learn enough doing media, making films, doing news articles. Maybe you learn enough doing that to go and be a successful investment banker. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. But there's some sort of way connection there. And you've got to connect the dots yourselves, guys. And if you go down that rabbit hole, guys, it's wild. So what's up? I hope everybody's okay, guys. So thank you to everyone that's joined. Thank you, guys. Queer Starmer has been trending on Twitter. Yeah, white men. Wow, yeah. So white men. Wow, this was from the first article we did. This, and I'll share this now, guys, real quick. So if anybody who's just joined knows what I'm talking about. Where am I? I almost closed the stream there. We don't want to do that. Here we are. So this is the article we was talking about. How can we rebuild our shrinking armed forces? Simple, recruit more white men. That's what they're saying. Now, that's literally what he's saying. And I think he's talking about demographics there, not that there's anything, different between the colors of people. But, he goes on and he talks about that there's more, we have more diversity groups in the military than we have tanks. It's insane. What else have we got? Did you hear that Iran are deploying soldiers? Yeah, so we're going to come on to Iran and Lebanon after we've done the comments. Just came out. Yemen says that Yemen's yeah. So guys, right now in the Middle East, we're seeing things unfolding that started with the pager attack. What was it? Was it on Tuesday or what? No, I think it was Wednesday. We had this pager attack which took out Hezbollah, or their right hands and some of their eyes. Then we had the walkie-talkie attack, which took out more people. And then we had airstrikes and airstrikes and airstrikes. Now we've got we'll come on to that afterwards, guys. We'll come on to what's happening in the Middle East. There's too many connections with Starmer. Yeah. Sharon Owen. Yeah, there's too many connections with Starmer for it. Not, guys, look, I'm going to put the links to these in the articles. And these are not even, these are not even fringe links. These are not even fringe connections. And what you've got to think about, when you're in the workplace, for example, wherever you work, I don't know where it is, and you have like a Christmas do or something, or an office party, or just day-to-day working, do you think that you're not going to rub shoulders with the other people that those people are associated with? Do we really think that? No, of course not. It's absurd. So look at the people that Lord Ali. So look at the people who Lord Ali is associating with, or associated with. Look at where he made his money, and then make the connect the dots yourselves, guys. Okay, it's absolutely wild. Lord Ali wants his Starmer. Can we remember that Starmer has kids and a wife? So the drama would, yeah. So. Yeah, so when Keir Starmer was talking about the sausage at his speech, that gives it a whole new context, doesn't it? When Keir Starmer's now talking about release the sausage, was that a little code word for him and Lord Ali? I don't know, guys. I genuinely don't know. I'm just speculating. New game, guys. Every time Sean says the word, guys, take a shot and see how faces you get. Yeah, I do. Right, guys, again. So let's go back to what have we got? What's been happening in the Middle East? So hang on, let me go to that. So we're going to start talking about the protests that have just erupted in Iran. So the Iranian people now are out on the let's share the article. So Iranian protests, Hezbollah chiefs killing, demanding revenge against Israel. So there's gunfire erupted in Beirut post-confirmation protest spread. Protest chant against Israel. US burning flags, waving rifle. Iran's, I'm not going to try and pronounce that word, guys, support for Lebanon. Hezbollah against Israel. Thousands of Iranians took to the streets Saturday. So today, guys, in Tehran and across the country, condemning the killing of the Hezbollah chief and seeking revenge against Israel's offensive against Lebanon. So what we can see there now is the appetite in Iran for this conflict to go even bigger. And what we said yesterday is that it could be a situation whereby these attacks by Israel actually unify the whole of the Middle East, and they bring everybody together with the one common enemy, and that common enemy would be Israel and by de facto the United States. We already know what's happening in the United States. We already know that Donald Trump is going to pull funding for Ukraine and he's going to concentrate on the Middle East. We know this, guys, all right? When we're talking about these geopolitical moves and these, and these policies, and we think David Lammy is going to go and do some trade. I mean, look how successful David Lammy was out in the Middle East. Look how successful he was going out there and, releasing the sausages. Nobody would talk to him. Nobody would talk to him. And if people don't talk to you, how are you supposed to communicate? You can't. And if you can't communicate, then guess what? You're not going to negotiate any sort of deal. So that's what's happened. Now, we could have a situation very soon where the whole of the Middle East is united, and this would fit, guys. I didn't realize until earlier on today, we are 30 odd days away from the election in the United States. That is absolutely wild. So we could have a situation within the next 30 odd days where we've got a huge United States military presence, potentially over the skies of Israel, using their superior air power, closing the airspace, protecting the Israelis from rocket attack, from drone attack, and all this sort of stuff, just escalating on and on and on. And remember, the prize for the United States is to take Iran. We've already spoke about how this is going to happen. It's going to happen with the insurgents of Iranian, this group, Iranians for Trump. You've got the Iranians trying to develop their own nuclear weapon. And let's be real. If the Iranians don't need to develop their own nuclear weapons anymore. They just buy them off the Russians, because you've got that trade agreement now with them. You've got the military agreement with them. And these guys are partners. These guys are allies. So rather than Iran develop them, it makes more sense for me if I was in that situation. And, we don't know how far along the Iranians are to developing their own nuclear system. But the Russians could just say, okay, I'll just give you nuclear missile. It's very easy to use. You just press button and the country go kaboom. So that's in my opinion, that's the more likely event that could happen. But when Trump gets in office, and I do think he will, when Trump gets in office, he's already been very clear the funding's going to stop from going into Ukraine. But he's been very clear that that he will defend Israel. Look at let me try and get you a picture, guys. In fact, I won't. But look at the interpersonal relationships between interpersonal relationships between Benjamin Netanyahu and Donald Trump. Just look at how they're doing bro handshakes and hugging, and they're he invited him to his house. So you've got to understand, when you have this type of relationship, you say things behind closed doors, and you're like, yeah, mate, I'll under no circumstances will I let that happen. And, you tell people, and you're on a one-to-one with those people. So they know that regardless what's going to get voted, what's going to happen domestically, that person can be trusted. That person is not going to do X, Y, or Z. Equally, that person is going to do X, Y, and Z in your favor, or whatever you guys have spoke to behind the scenes. And, these guys will have chains of communications that are not specific to each other. So Trump, for example, will have friends of friends who have friends of Benjamin Netanyahu. And those will be the guys that will be talking behind the scenes, because it's very difficult to trace those people, especially if they're using encrypted messaging services. And, it's very difficult to intercept. When you're talking to someone face to face and there's no electronic devices around, you can't intercept that. It's just impossible. That's why these meetings where people go and have them face to face, that's key. And the key moment for me in this whole Middle East diversions, escalation thing was when I saw Donald Trump meet Netanyahu at his, I think it's his home in Mar-a-Lago. He invited him in, you saw them hugging, doing bro handshakes, and you're like, yeah, those two are bros. They've got each other's backs. That's how it is. That is literally how it is. And then you look to what's happening in Ukraine and the escalations there. We've talked about these storm shadows. Again, it's a non-question. What I will say, guys, and I don't know if I've shown everybody on, I don't know if I've shown everyone on here. I'm just going to real quickly share this. In fact, hang on. I'm going to show you now about Ukraine, what's been happening. So where people are saying that the Ukrainians are, about this. So, right, I'm going to go right. So this is a war map. This map here, guys, basically shows you what's the movements that each side have made in whatever time. And this is the Donbass region. And I'm going to go way back here to when the Ukrainians made their insertion into Russia. So this is how the ground looked on the 7th of the 8th. This is how the ground looked. This is how it was. I want to measure this distance. Look. So let me zoom in a bit. So we'll go from there, that grey area, and we'll go to there, Pokrovsk. So that's 17.4 kilometers. All right, just keep that in mind. All right, 17.4 kilometers. That was the closest range from the Russian front line to Pokrovsk Central. That was the day that the Ukrainians made their incursion into Russia. Now, I'm just going to fast forward here, guys, and look at the ground. In fact, look at the ground that's been made here. I'm just going to fast forward to the present day. The ground that's been made, it's absolutely unbelievable. And people say that, the Russians are being defeated in the east. They're not. This is the reality of the situation. So this is from the 28th. Now we'll do the same. We'll do the same thing again, and we'll be fair. We'll put it from Pokrovsk Central to Midway Grey Zone there. 9.8 kilometers. So can you see the ground that the Russians have made? The vast movement, and this range here. This is well within range of 120 millimeter mortars. It's well within range. So the reason I'm saying that is because the media at the moment, they're not portraying the reality of the ground, and this is why NATO troops will have to go into Ukraine at some point. It's an inevitability at this point. The Ukrainians don't have the manpower. They don't have the personnel to hold the Russian forces off. And the incursion into Russia, I think it's turning out to be a double-edged weapon, by the sense that now the Ukrainians are understanding that they've had to invest a lot of human resources in that region in Kursk. They've had to invest a lot of logistics. They've had to invest a lot of supplies. And that's left other places in Ukraine. That's left them, not empty, but, thin. And you've seen that this mass push towards Pokrovsk. Guys, that area of Pokrovsk is such a key area. It's such a key area because of the transport links. So what we can see is a mass push towards this area where, guys, this could happen at any day now. If you remember at the beginning of when I started to fast forward on the, on the Ukraine war map, what you saw was you'll see little movement, and then a big jump, because what happens is the Russians will be softening targets, bombarding targets. And once you bombard a bigger space, the Ukrainians don't know which way the attack's coming from. So then the Russians can just surge forward at their, I don't want to say at their leisure, at their own pace whenever they choose. And then the Ukrainians are reactive. And that's how, that's why the Ukrainians could, lose such big swaths of land really quickly. And remember, what did we say? Like 9 kilometers away or something. So that is not far, guys. 9 kilometers is not far. Well, it is and it isn't, but it's not far on that battlefield because the ground is more or less flat and they are pushing towards Pokrovsk. There's been an order in Pokrovsk for everyone to evacuate. Most people have now evacuated, and the only people left in Pokrovsk now are, well, I'm not going to say the only people, but most people who are in Pokrovsk now our military and some probably die-hard old people who just refuse to leave. So that's what's been going on there, guys, in Ukraine. Absolutely insane. Now, what's been happening in Israel? It's really hard to understand, what's happening because the situation is so fluid. It's happening so quick. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to I'm going to refresh the screen now. Israel Hezbollah latest. So this was 8:36. So 11 minutes ago. Israel Hezbollah latest. Hassan killed. Netanyahu hails historic turning point after elimination of leader. Guys, the Israelis are really driving down. And I keep saying this. I don't feel that the Israelis have the manpower to go into Lebanon. Lebanon's too big. There's too many. It's too much of a built-up area. However, if they did, and you see the same, and we see the same tactics that are being used in Gaza, guys, you're going to get. This would unite the Islamic world. This would unite the people in that region, because the only way that the Israelis. So again, I've mentioned this before. But when you go into a built-up area, it's called fighting in built-up area. Fibua, fighting in built-up area. When you go into these areas, it's very methodical. You have to have straight lines. You have to have lines of exploitation. Once you've cleared up to a line, you then have to secure that line before you can move forward. Because the worst thing militarily is if the bad guys can hide, wait till you've passed over them, and then pop up behind you. Because then it's confusion. It's, you're going to take unnecessary casualties. It's just an absolute nightmare. So what you would do normally is you would move into a house or a building or whatever. You would clear that door by door, street by street. So to clear a house, you have to go in. It's best to go in at the top, but it's, most of the time you go in at the bottom because it's just not feasible to get ladders up to the top. So you go in, you clear room by room. Once each room's cleared, you need to leave someone in that room to make sure nobody else goes in that room, or leave a team in that room, or two people, or or however much manpower you've got, you need to use it correctly. Once you've got somebody in each room, each corridor, and they can all see each other, you can shout, "Okay, floor clear." Then you can move on to the next floor. So in that instance, you would have somebody on the entry points to control the entry points so nobody can get back in while you clear the next floor. Then you do the same drill there, somebody in each room, and then you move on to the next floor. So you can see how much manpower clearing through these blocks of flats takes, how much manpower clearing through street by streets takes. Now, when you look at how the Israelis are dealing with this, guys, it's absolutely brutal, but that's their tactics. So what they're doing is they're just bombarding things and bulldozing them and just flattening the whole place. Obviously, if there's no buildings for people to get in behind, they're not going to have the problem where they may have people coming in behind them. So that's what tactics the Israelis are doing. If they use these tactics in Lebanon, and guys, I'm not saying that there's going to be a ground invasion. I am literally just speculating right now. But if they use the same tactics they've been using in Lebanon, that they've been using in Gaza, you will see a mass unification of, the surrounding countries. And then, it's going to be biblical where everybody's turned against Israel. That is what you're going to have. You're going to have like end time prophecies coming true. And I never it's hard not to make these connections. Israel's mentioned so many times in the Bible. And and I can't remember. I think it might be Revelation 13 or 16. In fact, it's definitely not Revelation. It's one of the other books, and it says, basically when Israel is surrounded and at war, that's when you're going to see an attack from Russia, or I think they call it Gog or Magog, and then that's going to usher in the arrival of the Antichrist. It's really difficult not to see these connections because we're literally seeing them and we're watching them unfold in real time. Absolutely wild. So we've got a little comment here, guys. The election can't come soon enough. Alexander, will you be voting for? Who will you be voting for? Obviously, from the United Kingdom, it's very difficult to understand how the political situation in the United States is laying. I've spoke to some friends who are in the United States, and they say it's 50-50 between Trump and Kamala. I genuinely don't know what the situation is out there in the United States. So let us know if you can what's happening out there. If Iran go to war with Israel, the US would take us to yes. So this is the plan, Kenzie. This is the plan, and it's what we've been saying for such a long time on this channel. Guys, if you've not done so already, please give us a like and a follow and a share and a subscribe, because we're hitting these things out the park. I mean, look what I said about Lord Ali like 2 weeks ago or something. Took me 30 seconds. Look at the stuff we've been saying about the wars we're getting into. We've been telling people what's happening for such a long time. And, it comes out in mainstream media. Then and we're seeing these things now happen in real time. And because we know what's happening, because we can understand the context of that, we know it's all, we know it's happening, and we know why they're doing it. So if Iran go to war with Israel and the United States and the US, would that take us into World War III? So I genuinely don't think, I think we're in World War III right now. I really do. I don't know what would qualify anymore as World War III. I don't. I mean, look at the Ukrainian front. You've got British soldiers now and this is from the German defense minister. You've got serving British soldiers out in Ukraine. From the, this is from the Russian perspective, and this is what mainstream media are telling us. Operating Western missiles or Western machinery. You've got Ukraine invading Russia and taking and holding ground. You've got these mass attacks that are happening. Look what's happening in the Middle East. I don't know we'll ever have a situation where we get a world leader coming up and saying, we don't have, we're in World War, like Keir Starmer coming up and saying, we are in World War. We are. I just don't think that's ever going to happen. What I think will happen is we'll get to a situation where everybody's fighting, everybody's doing wars with each other, and then some mainstream commentator will just say, guys, we are actually in a world war, aren't we? I mean, we are literally, we're attacking them, they're attacking us, we're having conscripts go out there, they're having conscripts, we're having some mass sabotage attacks. So that's what I think will happen. I genuinely don't think there's ever going to be a situation where we're going to get a world leader come out and say, we declare war. I mean, look at the Falklands. That didn't happen. No, Margaret Thatcher didn't declare war. We had the Gulf War. We had, was it a war in Iraq? It wasn't a war in Iraq, was it? It was like was it a regime change? Then we had the Afghanistan conflict. None of these things were a war. It was war on terror. It was, it was packaged as something else. But I can guarantee you, for those people on the ground, those people taking and breaking cover in the desert, it was pretty warlike to them. So I don't ever think we're going to get that situation where people call it a war anymore. I think what will just happen is there'll be just conflicts all over the world, and then maybe in 20 years' time or whatever, 5 years' time, when it all stops, people just say, wow, that was a third world war, wasn't it? And they'll just say, yeah, it kind of was. We didn't call it at the time. Alexander will be voting Trump again. And Alexander, do you feel that the climate in the United States, do you think there's a lot of people who will vote for Kamala? Because as somebody from the United Kingdom, I'm looking at her and I'm just thinking she's not a serious operator. Again, maybe I'm wrong, but I'm just looking at her and I think this can't be for real. This can't be the best person that the Democrats can muster to run for the election. But what I will say on the Trump thing and the Kamala thing, I heard somewhere that the reason Kamala got in because she was the only person who could legally operate the finances from the donors that were given. There was some financial reason why it had to be her. After these 5 days for Hassan, I think, I mean, it would make sense right now for Iran to get involved. If you think all these things are connected, it would make sense for Iran to get involved right now, just before the election. And then, we can see that we'll be able to see the rhetoric, because, they're going to want a full 4 years of Trump in charge. So he can push through whatever policies potentially that, that will get pushed through. And again, that is literally just me speculating. Zed Hussein, I miss your short videos. Don't have time. Yes, I will be doing more videos, more short videos. The problem was the internet just went. We had a car crash into the. It was really surreal, actually. We had a car crash like at the bottom of the street, and it took out the those green boxes that all the internet cables go into. We had a car crash into that. It just went. It was kaput. Then so I didn't know what it was. We literally couldn't do any of the shorter videos that I do, but I will be doing them. I'll probably start doing them tomorrow. And the issue was no internet. So me and Sarah, we said, right, you know what? We're going to get this studio. We're going to get it tidied up. We're going to get it cleaned. We're going to try and make it as presentable as we can, so we can start doing more live streams, more videos, and it's a little bit more professional than sat in your basement, sat in your cellar, in your front room. It just feels better when we're in here and we're doing videos. But what I want to do is I want to build this so we can have guests come in here. We can talk on a one-to-one. You can see interpersonal actions. And just have a better live streams for you guys, because not many people do live streams and talk about current events, because the reality is they just don't know. And it really grates me how you see things on, you see people on the TV, and you see these mainstream media commentators, and they're all saying, they're all just touting the same absolute garbage. And it's like they're just reading off a script, and the same script is given to everyone. So, that's why we started these channels. And I do this live, guys, because I've been in this industry for quite, you could say I started my career in 1999 when I joined the military. And, through that journey of joining the military in 99, going to the invasion of Iraq, tours of Afghanistan, tours of Northern Ireland, other tours, overseas exercises, leaving the military, working for the embassy in Baghdad, working for the embassy in Ukraine, then doing my work as in the military industrial complex. I understand how all these things work. And there's lots of people like me who are understanding how these things work, and you just spot them. But the problem is, people think that the politicians are in charge, and people think that they have a say in what, when you vote. Look at Keir Starmer, for example. I think that it was the lowest turnout. It was the lowest turnout for, I don't know. It was a ridiculously low turnout that people that voted for in that election. So you've got a situation now where hardly anybody realistically has voted for Keir Starmer, but he's got a massive majority in the UK Parliament. Now, he's come out and he's turned into an absolute dictator. Again, guys, if you're just joining us now, I gave you guys the breadcrumbs, not the breadcrumbs. I've just talked about who Lord Ali is and his connections and his previous work and how he made his money. And I will put all these links in the description for you guys to check out yourself. But please, guys, go and do your own research onto who Lord Ali is. Go and make these connections for yourselves. Look at who these family members are, who they've been associated with, and think, do we really think that these things are, these places that he's worked, do we really think that these are separate and they're not connected? Guys, it's absolutely insane. It's wild. And the more you understand, the more the more what's happening, it just becomes clear to you, and you can see the path that's laid out for us. I've been very clear, guys, and I've not changed my tune. I think we're heading towards a global conflict on an industrial scale. I don't see any way around that. I really don't. I'm shocked by the polls. This 50-50 split, simply financially, I was doing better then. Yeah, people are in denial or blind if they can't see the state of our economy. Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of this, this is why people normally have a war. Because if you have a war, you can put your country into a war economy. You can, get people working again. You restructure the financial system. And, Alexandria, people are exactly the same in the United Kingdom. I went and had my haircut the other day. I don't know if I mentioned this on last night's stream. When I went and had my haircut, it was an Irish guy. He was all right, actually. He was quite funny. I went in, I said, listen, mate, I need a powerful haircut. I said, I tried to be like Aragorn from Lord of the Rings, but I just said, I can't deal with it I just can't deal with it at the moment. It's too long. I can't, I've never had hair this long. He said, who do you want to be like now? I said, I want to have a haircut like Johnny Rico. And he started laughing off Starship Troopers. He started laughing. So we had a bit of a crack. And, I just started talking to him. I said, how's things been in here? Are you busy? He said, no, we've literally, like, absolutely no one's been coming through the door. It's like, it's absolutely dead. And then, like, you're starting to get demand destruction. You're starting to get people only spending on essentials as people understand the financial situation and the financial burden and the cost of living, and everything's going up. The price of everything's going up slowly and slowly and slowly. So you don't really realize, okay, a bag of crisps, it used to be £1. It's now £1.12. Oh, it doesn't really matter. Okay, the next month it's £1.18. All right, it's only a few pence, but this is happening to everything slowly and slowly and slowly. And we are having a situation now, guys, but this is really hurting people in the pocket, where people are starting to make these cuts, making cuts to non-essential items. So the only things that people really need are food and energy. And they're going to be the two things that people will have to keep paying, because the reality is people have got less and less money, and that's across the whole of the West. Right, guys, I'm gonna cut this now. Once we've done 2 questions from Kenzie. The thing is, Iran always say that they will do something for the past month. They were saying it didn't happen, so Iran do it. Yeah. So if you remember back when the Israeli missile strike went into Iran, if you remember that, the Iranians came out and they said, let me quote it, guys. I did a video on it, and it was something like the Iranians said they would seek divine retribution or something like that on the Israelis. And again, and nothing's happened now. But what you're seeing now in the streets of Tehran, you're actually seeing protests of the, people wanting the Iranian government to do something, to do a strike against Israel. So, that's the situation in Iran. Them cancelling all their armed forces vacation makes me think that maybe they are serious. Yeah. So the situation in the Middle East, it's since Wednesday, we have had escalation after escalation after escalation, and people are saying, oh, it's just escalate, and that's kind of it. And remember, when the media are reporting in Israel or in the Middle East, and you see them on, let me see real quick, guys, if I can find somebody on one of the mainstream media is doing it. I'll just refresh this and I'll share it with you if there is. No, there's not. But you guys know what I'm talking about. When you see these people on the borders with, for example, when you saw the people on the Polish border with Ukraine, on the, at the limit of exploitation in the Donbass region in Ukraine as well. When you're seeing these reporters on the border of Israel and Lebanon, they're stood there in their helmets and their body armor. Just behind the camera, each one of those mainstream media news outlets will have an Israeli press officer. It's just the way it happens, guys. And that Israeli press officer will be giving them directions, and that's just how it works. They'll be saying, right, guys, this has happened, and then that'll get reported. So who's really reporting that? Is that the mainstream media reporter, or is that the Israeli media military? And you will also get a situation. And guys, there's nothing wrong with this. You know, people say that the military shouldn't, you know, it should be all out for everybody to see. Absolutely not. You know, Karen, who works at a supermarket, and she, a couple of years ago, she was an expert on biological contaminations. She does not need to know when British Special Forces are going in to do a hostage rescue. She doesn't. I don't care what anyone says, guys. She doesn't need to know that. Neither does Dave, who works in the pub, who loves throwing things on social media. He does not need to know when, there's a mass British airstrike going in to take out some bad guy. He doesn't need to know that, guys. All right. So I do think the military should have some say over the media, in the context that, they shouldn't lie, but they should certainly be able to withhold information for a period of time until it's not sensitive anymore. But yeah, the Israelis will have somebody stood behind that camera, behind those mainstream media outlets, and they'll be saying, right, guys, cut the feed now, and then they'll have to cut the feed, and they'll not be able to report on certain things that happen. And that's the reality, guys. All right, we're not being given all the information. That's just the way it works. Hang on, we've got. Is that hostage situation or hostage situation? Yeah. So Sharon, so the rumors now about, guys, this is going to be the last one, guys. All right, guys. So we're all talking about Starmer again. So, guys, when Keir Starmer gave his speech, right? So the rumors that are out about Keir Starmer, free gear Starmer, two-tier Keir, queer Keir, all these rumors are out now. It gives another dimension to when he was talking about sausages on stage. It gives it a total new dimension, guys, now. Anyway, guys, I'm going to cut this. I'm going to go now. Don't forget to like and share my stuff. I'll start doing the shorter videos, the updates. I'll try and get, a few of them published every day now. Like I said, we're building this studio. It's taking longer than I thought, having to lay cables, having to put things down, having to move things around, a power supply, heating. This window's just turned into an absolute fridge. It's a nightmare, so we're going to have to get some thermal curtains. So we're moving forwards, guys. We are going to have a studio. We are going to start inviting guests on. I don't really want to do this remote guest things. I want to actually have people in. That's it, guys. I'm going to go now. Make sure you like my stuff. Everyone, I forgot to say it at the beginning, guys. Everyone, you need to be fitter and you need to have more money. So everybody, if you're still watching now, guys, make yourselves a plan how you can get fitter and how you can get more money. Because, guys, no matter what situation you guys are in, everybody needs that. Anyway, guys, I'm going to shoot now. You've been fantastic. I'm going to Mac to Grid. I'm going to start putting the shorter videos on tomorrow morning, guys. I'll speak to you guys soon.